Doesn't say it's all day until he said that.
Yeah. Want this? Sorry, mate. It's alright. I've looked at it. All right, let's do it. You know the drill, Nasser. If you can give us your full name and title just for the record.
Nasser Mashni, President of the Australia-Palestine Advocacy Network.
Do you want to start off with something you want to say, or do you want us to just go straight into questions?
I'll start. We're very excited today, unfortunately, to commemorate 365 days in the uptick of this genocide. For too long, Western media, Western politicians have framed this as a one-year-old conflict. You've framed it that October 7 was the start. For Palestinians, this is 76 years. This is just the latest uptick in the genocide, the racism, the fascism that is Israel. The one thing we can take out of this...
2.2.
Hopefully that's the end of the checks.
Can we get somebody onto the checks? Joseph!
I'll tell.
Can we splice or do we...
Yeah, we can splice. Keep going, mate.
The one thing we can take out of this day today, this movement today, is an increased understanding amongst the wider constituency that Israel is a settler colonial state, that Palestine was there and Israel came to us. Just like this colony was once 100% Indigenous, so too was Palestine 100% Indigenous. Increasingly, the world has become aware of what Israel actually is. What Israel actually is. It's a fascist, racist settler colony today conducting war on 4 other countries as well as Palestine. We've seen them bomb Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Yemen, as well as the Palestinian, killing tens of thousands, 20,000 children, denying food, gas, electricity to 2.5 million people. That the Israeli Defense Force Minister, the Defense Minister of a nuclear-armed state, said he was dealing with human animals. Language we haven't heard since World War II. Human animals. He's cut off gas, electricity, food, water, medicine. Every woman that's given a cesarean section and given birth since November has done so without any pain medication. Children are starving. The UN said that Israel is using food as a weapon of war. It's past time to call it out. It's past time for our government to act, to listen to the people that are demonstrating across this continent in their tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and cumulatively even millions of people who've said Israel's not normal, Australia shouldn't have relations with it, we should kick out its ambassador, we should sanction that state, we should divest from any investments with it, and we need to move on and away from Israel and start talking about humanity.
What's the significance? Today's protest in particular?
Well, the significance of today's protest, is 365 days. Yeah, she lost family last night. And you care about a bit of silk and a picture. Irrespective of Australian laws and whatever, we need to be questioning the humanity and humanity of our cause, and the fact that our country and politicians are not speaking to the innocence that is being robbed of Palestinians, Lebanese, Syrians, Iranians and Yemenis. That's where the focus should be. I'd like Tasnim to speak to the challenge she's facing as a human being, as an Australian who's lost family, and no one's speaking to her or about her.
Just one moment, Tasnim. And step right up to the microphone if you can.
Can we just get your name as well?
Tasnim Summak, Tasnim Sammak. I'm one of the organisers of these rallies. We've been holding them for a year, as well as pickets against weapons manufacturers and student encampments that have called for divestment from weapons companies. My family lives in Gaza. My dad was born in a refugee camp in Gaza, and we've been there since 1948 due to the Nakba, the ethnic cleansing. Most of the population in Gaza are refugees, and I've lost many family members to Israeli bombs. We are marking 1 year of the ongoing genocide in Gaza, and just yesterday my dad received the news of 5 women in our family, his cousins, my aunties and second cousins, who were slaughtered in a massacre in Gaza. They have survived an entire year of bombs. They have been displaced. The entire camp is rubble. They have buried family, and now the death has caught up to them. They are now under the rubble.
So Tasnim, on a day like today, which marks 52 protests for you, but almost the October 7 anniversary, do you understand why there is conflict and why it's more complicated for everyday Australians than maybe somebody like yourself who has a direct connection back home?
people in Australia can understand that October 7th means multiple things. It cannot be exclusively for Jewish grief when Israel dropped the first bomb on October 7th, beginning the genocidal assault on Gaza. The media should report that and document, go back to that day and state very clearly that 230 Palestinians were killed on October 7th in airstrikes on Gaza, because the airstrikes began on October 7th in response to the breakout from Gaza.
And I know it's a very complicated question, and both of you can answer this, but the reality is you've been holding these protests for 52 weeks.
That's right.
The war has escalated. Australia's position has not changed. Where do we go from here?
Well, Australia's position has changed. Australia's position has changed. We need to be clear on that. It's nowhere near where it needs to be, but Australia has called for a ceasefire. Australia has voted at the UN, moved towards where it needs to be. It's a long way off, which is why our movement is so important. It is not reflecting what the Australian constituency is telling us. Our polls are saying differently. The people that show up, that sign our petitions, that are participating in all our actions are saying the government is not representing us. We need to move away from this concept that October 7 was the start. The reality is the world, Western world, is in isolation from the global South that has seen the hypocrisy of you, the West, media, leaders caring because Israelis were killed.
That's not
To the
true.
force.
So
to
how
the
many
6th of
times?
October.
Excuse me. We're here interviewing you, and I appreciate that you're not exactly happy with the media. I think all of us here are probably trying to do our best, and that's why we're here today. So can I ask you again, just back to my question?
Let me go back to
52
your
weeks on.
question.
Where do we go from here?
On the 1st of January, on the 1st of February, on the 1st of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, we sent a press release, Nick. Not once did you attend any of our functions. Not once did you call us in for an interview. Not once did you publish our op-ed. Let's be clear. Until the 7th of
where did
October,
that
Channel 9.
Yeah, okay. And did we not have you on our news multiple times? Do we not? Are we not here many Sundays?
After Israelis were killed.
I
Respectfully. If you want to look, we had the deadliest year on record.
I'm not doubting that. I'm asking, where do we go from here?
75 years of killing, oppression, settler colonialism. The world has woken up, particularly the global South, to the hypocrisy. We've seen how you act, how the world reacts, sanctions, expulsions, etc., with Russia's occupation of the Ukraine. Israel occupies Palestine. We need the same level of reportage there. Now, the fact that you're here now is because the Australian people are here. The Australian people are demanding more of you. They're demanding more of our politicians. And that's why you're all here. And it's fantastic that you're here, and I don't want you to go. But the reality is, if you picked up any mainstream newspaper yesterday and saw any mainstream reportage, the question is about the humanisation of the suffering of the Israelis. And we care. All human life is sacrosanct. All human life is important. But the complete and utter disparity in human stories about Palestinians and their suffering. Where's the human interest story in Tasnim and her family? Where's the human interest story in all the tens of Australian Palestinians who've lost thousands of family members there?
Yeah, in terms of the question of what needs to happen, the people of Gaza need to be freed. That is what happens. Sorry, let me just...
I meant more from an Australian perspective. Where do you guys go? Where does the country go?
What does the government need to do?
Australia is part of the international community. It's a signatory to the Geneva Convention. What should happen in the case of genocide is to end the genocide. We need the prevention of genocide and war. The people of Gaza need to be freed. The complete annihilation of Gaza is at the brink. We don't know how many people of Gaza are under the rubble. We don't know if Gaza will survive. The case is that maybe all of Gaza is flattened and all of Gaza is destroyed, and we've watched that on. And that is a crime. That is a crime against humanity. Now, we can speak about grief and we can speak about human life and the international order, but this is immoral to allow for a genocide to go on. It should not be 1 year. We should not be marking a whole year of genocide. The genocide needs to end. Where is the permanent ceasefire? Our call has been permanent ceasefire, ceasefire now. And now we are chanting ceasefire where? Ceasefire where?
Can I also just ask, Jacinta Allen today saying that no events should take place tomorrow unless they're commemorating the lives lost in the October 7th attack. What do you say to that?
We are holding a vigil tomorrow. It's an ecumenical vigil. It's poetry readings, dirges by members of our community. One of the great things about this movement for 52 weeks, we've seen an increase in the number of Australian Jews joining us. There will be Australian Jews there tomorrow. There will be Australian Jews here today. We've got an executive member of the Jewish Council speaking this afternoon. Our space is ecumenical. I'd like you to be asking the Israel Firsters, the Israel Lobby, how many Palestinians they'll be commemorating at their events tomorrow. At the events that Jacinta Allen will be attending, at the events that our Prime Minister will be attending, will anyone speak of the dead children, the dead women and the dead men? It's shameful that we're being asked to be respectful when we've suffered 365 October 7s in this period, let alone the 75 years before that.
The issue with the flags, it's something that the federal police have focused on. I guess you say the focus shouldn't be on that, but given the police's focus on that, it is something that the Australian population sees. Are you worried that that impacts your messaging on days like this when you're making this?
It's unnecessary distraction, of course. But I think if you spoke to the everyday Australian and said to them, what about these Hezbollah flags? Most of them wouldn't know what a Hezbollah flag is. Most of them would say, why are kids getting slaughtered? How is this self-defence? How is this self-defence? 365 days later, there's not a school, a hospital, a road. No Palestinian child has been to school for a year. This is not self-defence. This is outright butchery.
I think a lot of Australians are asking themselves that and feeling that in terms of what the police are telling them about those symbols, that's, I guess, the message they're also receiving as well. So from your standpoint, are you taking action to sort of try and remove that from your movements?
We'll be asking people who attend our process to abide by the law. Yeah, well, we don't need the unnecessary distraction. We don't need our participants to suffer the brutality of our legal system and our court system. I mean, it's unnecessary. But the focus should be and must be on Palestine and on Israel's brutality and what they're doing to the Palestinians.
So you would condemn those symbols being used as part of your process?
I condemn Israel. I condemn our government that refuses to condemn any Israeli action, no matter how barbarous. 80 one-ton bombs were dropped on a city block, wiping it entirely out, leaving thousands homeless, to kill one person. Members of my family called a local hospital to say, is there anyone in there from our family alive? And the response from the hospital was, we've got no injuries. I said, how could you have no injuries and no casualties? I said, because the weaponry was so big, everybody was evaporated. If you're going to condemn something, condemn that. Condemn that brutality. An entire city block, 80 one-ton bombs. Past time to be condemning anybody other than the fascist apartheid state of Israel.
We talked about it earlier, 52 weeks events like this have been conducted. Do you plan to continue this through? Do you have a timeline of events, continue to host events like this?
Look, I can tell you I've been doing this my entire life, and I've been speaking in a vacuum because I've had no constituency. Never before has Palestine had this platform. We're not stopping until Palestine is liberated. Until the Palestine's liberated from the river to the sea, where everybody can be free. Currently, from the river to the sea, only half the people are free, and they're Israeli Jews. It's past time for apartheid to end in Israel, as it did in South Africa, and we'll be here every week until Palestine's free.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it.
So, Nasser, you've just come from a press conference. You had most of Melbourne's media here today. Were you happy with how that press conference went? Were you happy with the questions?
Well, I mean, look, we've got to be realists about what the mainstream media is going to focus on. Our movement today is about liberation. It's about anti-colonial struggle for liberation for all. The media, of course, is functioning in a space where they care about some victims and not others. And today that looks like Australian Jews. And the Prime Minister saying that the October 7 is a sacrosanct date. We don't accept that. We believe all human beings are equal, and therefore all suffering should be equal. And in fact, if you want to commemorate any date, it should be the Palestinian suffering, because we have suffered excessively. And from a point of view of the number of people killed, but also the level of barbarity, not for a year, but for 77 years.
There's a couple of questions about last week, specifically the Hezbollah flags and the response from protest organisers and now the police looking into it. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's normal for them to ask those questions because that's what Peter Dutton, our alternative Prime Minister, has been driving this agenda of division, of separatism, and it's shameful. We need to be talking about what really matters, and that's humanity and human lives. The standard we're allowing to go past in Gaza is a standard that's going to be everywhere. This is the new playbook for settler colonies wherever they might be, and it's going to be very painful for the whole world. It's the death of humanity we're seeing here.
Palestinian millions! We are all Palestinians! In our Palestinian millions! We are all Palestinians! We are all Palestinians! All the music as you sing! Israel's on a killing spree!
I'm not hiding.
Wallahi, I love you. You are the humanity. I love